What's happening, YouTube, Facebook, and Dailymotion? Anthony on Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film with a brand new Marvel Legends review, and this time is on my favorite friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man, with his velocity suit from the PS4 Spider-Man game. And this is one of the many Spider-Man Marvel Legends I've been wanting to get my hands on, and this is my very first Spider-Man Marvel Legends figure outside of that Black Cat 2018 figure that I had reviewed not so long ago. If you haven't seen that review for the Black Cat from the 2018 Spider-Man line of Marvel Legends, check it out, it's on my channel. But this is the Spider-Man Gamerverse figure from his PS4 game counterpart, and basically this and the Spider Armor Mark II suit are the only two Spider-Man PS4 alternate suits outside of his PS4 costume skin that was only made available exclusively from the Gamerverse part of Marvel Legends from Hasbro. This is what the front of the packaging looks like, and this is from the side, you know, taking a still image from the game. And from the back here features some details about Spider-Man, and especially a little bit about how this velocity suit enhances his spider suit with speed boosting technology. And also, in order these are the this indicates the following, you know, figures indicating how to build the Demogoblin figure, because the Demogoblin feels like a more scarce, you know, darker version of the Hobgoblin and the Green Goblin merged together, because when you look at this guy, this is what he looks like. This and the Spider Armor Mark II Spider-Man are the only two of the Gamerverse that, in order to also have the Demogoblin's leg, because this figure has one of his legs. But next time when I do a review on this PS4 Spider-Man Marvel Legend, I will do a review on this, so that way I can have both of the Demogoblin's legs. These four figures are not part of the Gamerverse. This is just standard Marvel Legends fare. And if you want to get you know, the Demogoblin's legs, you have to get this Spider-Man, which I already have, and also the Spider Armor Mark II figure. These four will complete the rest, like the arms, the torso, the head, you name it. And from the following, you have, outside of the two Spider-Men, you have the Superior Octopus, which is basically Spider-Man if he was Doc Ock. You've Vulture, the White Rabbit, and Shang-Chi in order to complete the Demogoblin. So you're going to have to get all 6 of these figures if you want to complete this guy. So not much to say on this. I like the packaging as much as I like every other Marvel Legends packaging, even though I just got started. This is my third Marvel Legends figure on my channel so far, but let's take a look at how this fares compared to, well, particularly, well, despite this was, you know, from the game onto real life for my collection of action figures. So let's take a look. Alright everyone, now that we got Spidey out of the box, there's only not much you can say about this figure, but we'll probably just do a small run through of this figure and what this figure can do. But we'll start with the only two accessories this Spider-Man figure comes with. And by the by, this is my very first, really my very first Spider-Man figure in over more than a decade, because a long time ago I used to have that Spider-Man, you know, the last time I had a Hasbro produced Spider-Man toy, give me a minute. If you want something that's like a blast from the past, well, despite that this is, you know, my very first Spider-Man toy in a long time, I gotta raise the camera, you know, raise the tripod down in position a little small, you know, thorough, so people can see. If this is a little blast from the past, because a long time ago, back in 2008 or 2007, I remember when I heard about Hasbro doing the Marvel universe for characters. Now, this is a Spider-Man, this is a very vintage Hasbro Spider-Man trilogy figure of the black suit Spider-Man. It's not even hardly the same scale as the, you know, currently the Marvel Legends as we all know it. But I know this figure was not great, but, you know, again, based on my nostalgia for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, that although as much as I liked this figure when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I did get this figure when I was still a huge Spider-Man fanatic. But though when the Raimi trilogy ended, this was one of the last few Spider-Man toys I had for a long time, and when they rebooted the franchise with the Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then the MCU and Into the Spider-Verse recently, and the PS4 game and so forth, and several other Spider-Man iterations beyond the Raimi trilogy, this was in fact one of the last few things I had of Spider-Man. And again, I had this thing for this Spider-Man, this black suit, Raimi, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man figure for a long time. And this was, of course, if you remember, for those who are big Spider-Man fans and collectors in general, that this black suit Spider-Man would come with those Sandman wall pieces. But again, this was back when Hasbro was just starting out, acquiring the Marvel license for Marvel Legends of sorts. But I hope that eventually, for the 20th anniversary of the Spider-Man film franchise, particularly 20 years of the Raimi Spider-Man, universe, I would like to see Hasbro take another stab at this black suit Spider-Man and also the other figures of the Raimi, universe. But let's put that away and focus on current day Spider-Man from the PS4 game. And again, out of all of the Spider-Man suits, speaking of which, now, as much, out of all the games of Spider-Man for the PS4 Spider-Man, if you've been playing Spider-Man PS4 long enough, this suit is in the game. And among all of the Spider suits that are in the Spider-Man game, and yeah, I have been playing Spider-Man PS4 for over a year, and it's still a decent it's a very great Spider-Man game. It's probably one of the best Spider-Man games of all time, and one of the best superhero games, nevertheless, all forbid. But of all of the Spider-Man suits, outside of the PS4 suit, this is one of my few favorite suits, in the game. And because I just like how this Velocity suit has this little futuristic vibe going for it, particularly, because of the glossy armor on here. But we'll talk about the details and how they did the painting, the paint apps and stuff on this, and kudos to Hasbro for that, like I did when I brought up about my Atmosphere Armor Iron Man figure. But as for the accessories, the Demogoblin leg, this is what the leg looks like. If only if it was like a full leg and not half a leg, and just like cut half of the leg off and just only have the lower leg with a foot and the ankle and the shin, and you can get the ankle pivot on that Demogoblin leg. So that's not much you can say for this, but until when I get the following remaining figures in order to complete this guy. But of course I gotta get the other Spider-Man from this game in order to complete that. This piece of webbing, well, since Spider-Man does do this, but I don't even know where the webbing goes. I mean, should it go through his hand? Because there really isn't anything you can do. But of course it's shaped like a little small wooden basket, but it's like a web basket. That's what I like to call this accessory, the web basket. And I really like the way how plasticky this webbing fabric is for the figure. But I don't know where you should place this webbing, because it doesn't really say otherwise. It's just Spider-Man just has this Spider-Man figure comes with this webbing piece, and there really isn't much more you can say. So there you go with that accessory with the webbing. But the figure itself, in other regards, is perhaps well done with the paint. And I really like how they painted this thing in well. But in the video game, this spider suit was on the blue parts. The blue parts looked at a little navy to blackish, you still have the standard red paint app on this Spider-Man. If this was like painted black, this would have emulated the Alex Ross Spidey suit. But since this is a velocity suit, and something that Tony Stark would have integrated for Spider-Man to wear, but knowing the fact Peter actually made this suit himself, and I actually like the way how they actually made the suit. The articulation is going to take some time to get used to with some of the stiffness to it. The butterfly, there's no butterfly joint on, going up and down with the butterfly joint. And it's a really little stiff, having him, bend like this. The arms do have some good posing positions if you have his arms up like this way. Since this Spider-Man doesn't come with no interchangeable hands, the only hand he has is just one hand doing the And then the other hand is a bald fist, so there isn't really much you can do with the Spider-Man really for this articulation. But I just really like the way how glossy this suit looks, for the figure, as opposed to, well, until I get more Marvel Legends figures. And now we gotta do at least some posing for Spider-Man and see what kind of incredible poses we can give him right now. Like, for instance, him posing, doing all of this. And then the way how they did the front and back spider. The front spider was fine, but I think the back spider looks a lot more enhanced. But it has this more of a little scorpion spider kind of vibe going for the back of it. And also, whenever I would play Spider-Man, whenever I choose this suit, if you set the game, if you set the gameplay at night, have the city of New York at night, this suit would stand out a whole lot, great, with the, what I loved about it when you set the game setting at night, this velocity suit does glow in the dark, which I wish this figure would have this same ability too. But if you turn the light off, this would not glow in the dark, unlike in the game. But if you turn the light back on, you can see the painting, because again, this is a complete painted figure. But if it did came with a glow in the dark feature, it would have been a lot cool, just like in the game. In terms of turning his legs, from the compared to the thighs, you can turn the legs this way and that way, just like with my recent Marvel Legends Atmosphere Armor Iron Man of the Gamerverse. The knee crunch, you can do a knee crunch. Ankle pivots is fine, but again, with all this gloss to this figure, it makes it a little squeaky a bit. Now let's do this leg and try to get no, I don't think. Wait, I don't want to break the legs. Okay, you can get a knee crunch on this leg too. Ankle pivot also on this leg. All right. As for an elbow crunch, you can get an elbow crunch like here, but if only this Spider-Man figure came with a different hand instead of doing the hand gesture though, but that's okay. And then, but as for this hand, with the ankle pivot, with the elbow pivot, well, I don't think you can do much of an elbow pivot, but you can only do a upper jab, upper jab position with this arm, as opposed to the other arm. Because with the left arm, you can do somewhat an ankle pivot, but there isn't really much you can do. You can turn the head all the way around and such, which is fine. And I actually like the way how they did this Spider-Man so far. Not much red on the suit, but of course it's like a blend between what little blue there is and what all the blue there is and all the red. I mean, actually this beats Andrew Garfield's first Amazing Spider-Man movie costume by a mile. Although the eyes on the Spider mask is black with a little bit of the blue bylines around it, because again, this is a very high-tech spider suit. And if you want to have some of Spider-Man's classic positions, you can do all of this, but you can't really, do much. If only there was a piece of webbing he can do like this, but I don't know if you can scrunch with bending the knee joints onto this figure and do one of those iconic poses, or do an iconic pose with him doing this, because, well, there really isn't you can do much with that. And and find different ways you can pose this Spider-Man, and just like me posing him like this right now. So I actually like this figure, and because again, this is one of my favorite suits in the game, and it's if it's a favorite suit of mine in the game, it's a must-have for him as an action figure. Of course, his head does come off a little easily, because just like that Atmosphere Armor Iron Man, you can put the head back on, put the Spider-Man head back on. But if only if it came with the Peter Parker head, it would have been a lot interesting. Have Peter have this suit on and taking the mask on and off, which is nice. And now let's see how he stacks up with my last Marvel Legend, the Atmosphere Armor Iron Man from the recent Avengers video game, and see how, side by side comparison, how they stand next to each other. And while I do like this Atmosphere Armor Iron Man figure where it had this metallic shine to it, I do like this Velocity Suit Spider-Man figure because it has this glossy feel to him, which is incredible. So yeah, that's not much you can say, but all I can say is I would highly recommend this figure for anyone who likes the PS4 Spider-Man game. And if this is one of your favorite suits, I recommend getting this figure. If it's not your favorite suit, then that's okay, because I really want to get going with this, and I really need to get back into collecting Spider-Man figures because I can't believe it's been more than a decade for me with Spider-Man, and in terms of him and action figures, because growing up I used to have a lot of Spider-Man action figures, but now this is my very first Spider-Man figure as an adult, and I really need to get back in the swing of things, pun intended, with collecting figures of my favorite wall-crawling superhero. Web-slinging, wall-crawling superhero. So anyway, guys, what do you think of this video? See you guys next time with a brand new Marvel Legends review and other future reviews to come. Thanks for watching.